Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. It has been 3 months since I've last shared anything about my morning routine, and so I thought that I would do that today. In my previous videos, my reason for getting up this early was to make it to my reception shift at our spin studio. Since then, I've actually completed my spin training, and so now I teach 4 classes a week, 2 of which are at 6 a.m. Since I have to leave my house at 5 a.m. to make it to the studio on time, I only have about half an hour to get ready, but in the past couple of months, I've really nailed down a great morning routine that I really wanted to share with you once again. The key to a good morning routine truly is having an even better nighttime routine. I will definitely do an official nighttime routine video soon, but one of the things that I always do is set out my clothes the night before, just so that I have one less thing to think about. Once I'm dressed, it's time to do my hair, and you guys already know I am a slick back queen, so another day, another slick back look. I usually just use the Way leave-in conditioner along with my Boar bristle brush to help tame any of my flyaways, but I just ordered the Day hairstyling cream and I can't wait to use it because apparently it's an absolute game changer for slick back looks, and so I will definitely update you guys on that ASAP. Another thing that I like to prep the night before is my tumbler with enough water. I am notorious for not drinking enough water in the day. Not only does hydrating first thing in the morning help your body release toxins, it also encourages and improves complexion and skin radiance, and in the wintertime, your girl needs any help that she can get. Now, the most exciting thing about my morning routine is probably this right here. I just discovered that my car has remote start through the Land Rover app, and what a game changer. Now, instead of freezing my little butt off, I get an extra 10 minutes to freeze my face off. I've chatted about this in previous videos, but ice rolling helps stimulate the lymphatic system to help get rid of puffiness and more toxins. Mostly, it just feels really nice and refreshing, especially at 4:45 a.m. Next, it's time to make my pre-workout cocktail, which consists of OxyShred and BCAAs. OxyShred is a thermogenic fat burner that I personally like to take for an extra boost of energy. And then BCAAs help support exercise endurance and muscle recovery. But honestly, this peach candy ring flavor slaps so hard that I use it just to make sure I'm drinking enough water. The last thing that I do before heading out the door is just make sure that my gym bag has everything in it that I need. I do have some essentials that basically live in this bag, but this day was actually Halloween, and so I did need to bring a costume, which once again I prepped the night before. And along with my costume, I made sure to pack extra batteries because I didn't want you guys to miss a thing. Now, this was actually the first time ever using my remote start, and so I did decide to still bundle up just in case for whatever reason it didn't work out. Spoiler alert, it did, but in case you're wondering why I'm grabbing an extra blanket, that's why. I like to arrive at the studio about half an hour before we open our doors, so once I've ditched my bag and put on my cycling shoes, it's time to get the room ready for class. I was actually the last one on the bike the night before, and so I didn't have to adjust my bike like I usually do. I just tightened the handles to make sure that my handlebars and my seat weren't wiggling around during my ride. Some other things that I need to take care of before we open our doors is the airflow, our fans, the stage lights, the disco ball, and then of course our sound system. Once the room is ready for the riders, I like to take a couple of minutes to warm up and then also to practice any existing or new choreo that I might have planned for class that day. This extra time is another reason why I get up probably a little bit earlier than I really need to. Sometimes choreo that you plan off the bike just doesn't feel the same on the bike, and so I do like to give myself those few minutes just to plan and to make any last minute changes if necessary. Like I already mentioned, the day that this video was filmed was actually Halloween, and so costumes were encouraged at our studio all day. And the night before, we had dinner with my boyfriend's parents, and his mom is an elementary school teacher, and this costume is the biggest hit with first graders, and she thought that there's no way it wouldn't be a hit in my class too. Now, I obviously couldn't film in class, but I wanted to see what it looked like on the bike anyway, so I took this clip afterwards, and safe to say we slayed. 10 out of 10. This next part of the vlog, an 11 out of 10, because look at this sunrise. I mean, can you believe this view? Even though it takes me a few more minutes to get home, I will always take the scenic route, and it's because of mornings like this. As we're going through this video, I'm actually starting to realize how many little moments of my morning routine I really love and feel so grateful for, but nothing will ever compare to coming home to the happiest boy in the whole wide world, our Australian Labradoodle, Cooper. And it's time to take him outside. I have mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but at the beginning of this year, my boyfriend and I moved into a townhouse, and so we don't actually have a backyard, which means that we have to leash walk Cooper several times a day. And at first we thought this was going to be a real pain, but honestly, we love it. In the morning, I'll usually just take him out for 10 to 15 minutes, and then he will get a nice long walk at some point later in the day. One of the newest additions to my morning routine, and something that I have really struggled making a consistent habit, is stretching. I really try to take such good care of my body, and I adore fitness and exercise, but prioritizing rest and recovery for some reason has proven to be really difficult. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been experiencing some hip pain and discomfort, and I truly think it's just because I've been neglecting my recovery. And so just recently, stretching has become an integral part of my morning routine. I really like using the Stretch It app, but it is on a paid monthly subscription basis. And so for this morning stretch, I just pulled up a video that I found on YouTube and then screen mirrored it onto my TV. This goes for exercise as well, but there really are so many free resources out there, especially with platforms like YouTube. It just has made fitness and different types of activities so accessible. And so even on those days where I can't get into a yoga class or don't feel like trekking down there, I really have no excuses and can still take a few minutes to myself to do that at home. Another part of my routine that only takes a couple of minutes is journaling. I like to use the 5-minute journal, and after seeing how long this clip was of me journaling, they could honestly go for a rebrand because it only took me 4 minutes to finish journaling. And I have talked about this before, but I am not really inclined to write freely, and I've never been able to keep a diary or a journal for more than a week, but this 5-minute journal does basically all of the work for me. Once we're done that, it is finally time to go upstairs and tidy our space and get myself ready for the next little portion of my day. Another one of my favorite things to do every single morning to really start your day off in the best way possible is by simply making your bed. It is quite literally the easiest thing to do to start your day off with success. I also like to tidy our nightstands, especially if they've accumulated a whole bunch of water bottles and glasses and any other miscellaneous items over the weekend. Next, I would usually shower, but I did have another class in just a couple of hours, and so in the meantime, I took off my sweaty clothes and just put back on my sweatsuit. One thing that I do like to do after every single class or any of my activities really is wash my face. As soon as I started teaching more consistently, I noticed some pretty significant changes in my skin. I was struggling with a lot of whiteheads and clogged pores, which is not really something that I had ever dealt with in the past. And as soon as I placed more of an emphasis on how and how often I was washing my face, I started to see my skin return back to normal. Some of the changes that I made were double cleansing on the days that I wore makeup and using a facial cleansing tool. Now, getting a little bit of deja vu here from earlier in the video, I won't bore you with my hair routine since we've been there, done that, but I will chat to you about my skincare routine. You're probably going to be very shocked and a little bit mortified, but in the mornings, the only product that I use is a niacinamide serum by Paula's Choice. I have a ton of sensitivities and allergies, and a lot of the time, for me, less is more. And so this is why, when it comes to my skincare and hair care for that matter, I am a minimalist to the max. I'm also a minimalist when it comes to my glassware and drinkware, and this Amazon tumbler is the perfect example. TikTok absolutely made me buy this Simply Modern tumbler, and let me tell you, this Amazon purchase does not disappoint. It is so much better than my Stanley on so many levels. Now, besides being obsessed with my new emotional support water bottle, I have also come to adore coffee. I've never drank coffee simply because it sends me off the friggin' wall, but my parents were getting rid of their Nespresso and I love a good cup of decaf. And so I went shopping at their house. They watched these videos, so thank you, Mom and Dad. Also, this almond milk coffee cream is an absolute must. 10 minutes into our video, we are finally getting to breakfast. I'm officially back in my oatmeal and yogurt bowl era. In the wintertime, my base for these berry bowls varies, but lately I've been using blueberries. They are super high and rich in antioxidants. And flavor-wise, I think that blueberries pair really well with bananas. I also add lactose-free, high-protein Greek yogurt along with oats, and if I'm feeling really funky, a little bit of peanut butter. Good morning, you guys. Obviously, I have already done my intro. We are well into this fall morning in my life, but just in case, if you are new here, my name is Nairee. I hope you've enjoyed my morning routine so far. It is just about 9:45 in the morning, and we have already been awake for more than 5 hours. If you've been following along on the channel for a while now, you will know that I love my early mornings. I adore getting up at 4:30 a.m. and I knew that I was going to have a pretty busy day today. So I just wanted to bring you along to give you a little bit more insight into what my teaching schedule is like, what I like to do in the mornings, what little habits have helped me become a morning person, and also just to let you get to know me a little bit better. Now, we've already tackled most of my morning. Like you saw, I just made myself some coffee and breakfast, which I'm gonna enjoy while watching a little bit of Love Island. Specifically on days where I teach, my schedule is packed, and so usually I like to have a little bit of downtime while I'm eating. This just gives my mind and my body a bit of a break before returning back into work. After I finish eating, I will have about an hour before I need to prep for my next class. And usually my first hour of the day is filled with admin. And so I will be getting back to emails, chatting with my collaborations manager, and then setting out my content and plans for the week. But first, I'm gonna enjoy my breakfast. I have a couple of different shows that I like to rotate, but for really easy watching, I can't seem to get enough of Love Island. I actually just started watching Love Island Games today and cannot believe those first few episodes. If you've watched them, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I mean, that stuff is wild. Similar to making your bed, rinsing and putting away your dishes right when you finish eating is another great way to continue finding little wins and a little bit of success throughout your day. Now, you guys already know that I'm a die-hard checklist fan. I know that I would not be anywhere close to where I am work-wise without my checklist. And so the first thing that I do when I sit down for that first hour of admin is write out my checklist. This weekly checklist in specific keeps me accountable for the content that I'm posting, and it keeps me focused throughout the whole week. All right, you guys, it is 1:30 p.m. I just finished teaching my second class of the day, and then I went to our local health food store to grab my favorite Green Power smoothie. I have shared this smoothie on my Instagram time and time again. We have got spinach, kale, dates, cinnamon, frozen banana, and almond milk. I've tried to make this at home time and time again, and it never compares. So any chance that I get to grab this smoothie, I will take. Now, in case I haven't mentioned it, today is Halloween, and it is our first time handing out candy in our new home. In the past, my boyfriend and I have only lived in basement suites, and so we've never had to actually hand out candy. I did chat with my neighbor, and since we're in a newer development, it sounds like we're only going to get about 15 to 20 kids. But nonetheless, I wanted to put together some goodie bags. My auntie actually put me on this idea a couple of days ago. Her and I were chatting, and she was saying that there is nothing worse than bringing out a big bowl of candy to a group of kids and then it either being a free-for-all or her saying, okay, pick 3, and then the kid standing there for the next 15 minutes trying to pick through this big bowl of candy. I definitely want our first Halloween to be a smooth sailing, so I'm gonna head to the dollar store, grab a couple of goodie bags, maybe grab a little bit more candy, and then we're gonna go home to put those together. We also have a very exciting delivery arriving to our house in about 45 minutes, so we've gotta get going. Based on this haul, it's safe to say that I went a little wild at the dollar store. I truly was only going in there for goodie bags and maybe a little bit more candy, but I walked out with tattoos and notebooks and pencils and erasers. I really don't like much about Halloween, but clearly, goodie bags is something that I can get behind. As I'm sure I've already mentioned, I went a little bit crazy at Dollarama. I have to get these all tied up, and then I'm gonna head to my auntie's to pick up her dog. My auntie is going to be trick-or-treating with our nieces, but her dog is really afraid of the fireworks. So I'm gonna pick her up, and then that way she can hang out with Cooper. Cooper has no awareness of the fireworks whatsoever, so it's a great little opportunity for him to distract Juniper. On my way to my auntie's, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of sushi. I have been craving sushi all day long. But besides that, we're gonna be spending the evening handing out goodie bags and playing with the dogs. That pretty much sums up this fall day in my life. Now the last thing, while I was bagging these, that delivery that I was telling you about did arrive, but you'll have to wait until my next video for the reveal. So stay tuned. Thanks again for hanging out with me for the day. I hope that you really enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys all in the next video.